Hey everybody, I'm Shane Ireland. Welcome to another episode of Tasting Notes. Today I am continuing my journey through Cornell Diehl's new Summit series, a series inspired by national parks. Today I am smoking through, I think, the final blend that I have not smoked yet, which is Watchman's Reach. Another one that seems tailor-made for me on paper. Watchman's Reach is a pure Virginia plug composed of two different grades of bright/lemon Virginia. One of those grades is from 2019 and one is from 2023, and they are pressed into this very interesting and somewhat rare these days plug format. So like I said in the other Summit Series tasting notes videos, the plug format is particularly interesting because you, the smoker, have control over the cut. Thinner, wider, you can cube cut it, you can rub it out to whatever degree that you see fit. It definitely changes the sort of how you interact with the blend and how you tailor it to like either the occasion or the pipe you happen to be smoking. And also plugs will age a little bit differently than a loose cut mixture, a ribbon mixture, ready rub, or even a flake because there's less surface area. So originally designed as a preservative measure, you're gonna have the moisture content hold a little bit longer over time. And because there's less surface area for the oxygen in the tin to interact with the tobaccos, it will age a little bit more slowly, a little bit more gracefully into the long term. So definitely these Virginia-based plugs in the Summit series do have long legs for sure. It's going to be really interesting to see how they develop in the short term, like in the first 5 years or so, and then way beyond that, maybe into decades. So, Watchman's Reach. Like I said, this is a pure blend of bright/lemon Virginias, two different grades from 2019 and 2023. Immediately, lemon zest, graham cracker, tea, like iced tea, unsweetened iced tea. Maybe a faint hint of something a little earthy, a faint hint of something a little bit like hay. That sort of grassy quality that I associate with brighter Virginias. What I get from this the most, though, is in the sort of like unsweetened iced tea and like graham cracker kind of a territory. Very inviting, especially if you're a Virginia smoker. Let's see how the flavor matches that tin note. Bit like a broken record these days, but with all C&D's tobaccos, particularly their Virginias, I do not give them very much drying time at all. I think the moisture content out of the tin is pretty perfect. Given that this is a plug and it is in that really condensed format prior to smoking and slicing and smoking, I do give this one a good bit of aeration before I pack the bowl, but I try not to let that take too much time because I really don't want to lose any moisture content. Again, because of the experimentation that you can do with a plug, you're going to have a wide variety of experiences, even with one tin of tobacco across a number of different pipes, even if you smoke the same pipe. Cutting it differently, the different width, all that kind of stuff, as well as your packing method is going to affect the experience. I don't think you can miss with this one. I think it is very forgiving, very easy to smoke, and whether you're slicing a little bit on the thicker side or a little bit on the thinner side, that is going to have more effect on the burn rate overall, maybe the initial burst of flavor. In my opinion, the thinner you slice, the more flavor you're going to get up front, more surface area. It makes sense, I think. But I have really enjoyed pretty much every bowl of Watchman's Reach that I've put through this same pipe here. And yeah, I think it's just a really solid bright Virginia that has the added benefit of the pressing and the pressure, much like a flake would, that sort of amplifies what I consider the sort of mature flavors of the tobacco. So as the tobaccos mature, both pre and post-production, you get a little more richness, a little more sweetness. It's a little bit less harsh around the edges, a little more well-rounded. And I think that given that this is the only pure bright Virginia in Cornell Diehl's Summit series, I'm really surprised, even fresh off the shelf, how much this is smoking like something that does have a lot of age. Right off the bat, I get the sort of toasted and baked goods and zesty and grassy flavors that I associate with bright Virginias. I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe that the 2023 grade of bright in here is from Canada, and it's that high sugar content Canadian bright leaf that Jeremy has been playing with kind of a lot in the last couple years. Right off the bat, that natural sweetness is apparent. You can feel it on the palate, and even through the retrohale, you get hints of sort of those sweeter baked goods. I would say this one is lemon zest, tea, and sweetness more than anything else. And then you do have a little bit of complexity in there, a little bit of spice through the retrohale. I could be picking up that spice the same way that I'm picking up sort of a zesty citrus character, but it's a little bit of a tingle. The further into the bowl, and even when I increase my puffing cadence, I do tend to get a little more of the darker notes here. The darker notes here are a little more like graham cracker than they are like dark fruit or anything. But again, it's very forgiving. I think that the range of flavors here is not perhaps as broad as some of the other Summit Series blends. If you're a Virginia smoker, this is going to be very familiar and very comforting for you. It's approachable, it's easy to enjoy. I think that this is an excellent first smoke of the day. If you're used to Virginias, especially brighter Virginias, it's gonna stick with you all day long. There's enough body and enough strength here that it will keep your attention. But yeah, it is just straightforward Virginia flavor. And I really love that about this product because there aren't too many strictly bright Virginias on the market. There's a lot of Virginias that blend a lot of different types of grades or also feature Perique. But if you really want a good idea of what a straight bright Virginia can offer, this is an excellent, excellent choice. If you're a fan of Cornell Diehl's Carolina Red Flake and you want to know what that would taste like with bright grades of Virginia instead of red grades, Watchman's Reach is an excellent sort of snapshot of that. Today I'm smoking Cornell Diehl's Summit Series Watchman's Reach in a little Eltang Basic sandblast, one of my favorite Virginia pipes, and I've been trying to keep the pipe sort of consistent as I try all of these blends, or at least the pure Virginia ones. Yeah. Watchman's Reach is a really, really excellent all-bright Virginia plug. Again, you have the benefit of being able to play with the format and the cut, but if you're a Virginia guy, especially if you lean towards the sort of brighter grades, this is an excellent option right out of the gate. It has the benefit of that extra pressure and that extra, from the format of the plug and being condensed and pressed. A little more mature in its flavor right off the shelf than it otherwise would be. I think the aging potential for this one might be the most surprising out of all of the Summit series. I have been finding recently that these lighter Virginia flakes end up really blooming over a long period of years. The sweetness is going to be ramped up so much, as will the richness, and some of those graham cracker notes, some of that maybe almost caramelized sugar, a little bit of that lemon zest. I mean, it sounds like a great baked good, right? I really enjoy it, and it's easy to smoke all day long. Another winner from Jeremy Reeves and Cornell Diehl. Thank you, guys.